Good morning. Uh, so, um, um, Buddha, I think many times said, don't rely on the person, rely on the Dharma, because the person um, cannot protect us from the worldly sufferings. Only what can protect us from the worldly suffering is the Dharma. If there's a possible that person, person like a really powerful, spiritually powerful one, can protect us from the worldly suffering. I think one of the most powerful person can say in the human as a should be Buddha. And the Buddha's nickname is called the what called the uh, lion of the two-leg amount. So what is the lion of the two-leg amount mean? The basically two-leg is the nickname of the human beings. And so is a lion. And I think pretty much know everyone that king of the jungle is the lion. Yeah, lion is the most powerful species, king of the jungle. And same way, most powerful or most, uh, mm, mm, um, um, superior, can say, of the human being was the Buddha. There is no other who more powerful than Buddha, because sometimes people think, like a certain deity are more powerful than Buddha, certain guru are more powerful than Buddha. So especially in the we Vajrayana, most of the time we try to rely on someone else beside the Shakyamuni Buddha. We rely to the deity, we rely to the guru, someone else, always looking somewhere else to uh, receive the blessing or protection. And not that many people, what call that, take really seriously about the Buddha. So His Holiness Dalai Lama also said in the Tibetan culture, when go to the main shrine, front of the Buddha, people just do pay homage, but they don't really seriously do. But when get to the Dharma protector rooms, then people become more cautious, more respect, more, they show even they're more offering to bring to that Dharma protector house. So that is lots of people think, Dharma protector are more powerful than Buddha, more important than Buddha. When it comes to our guru is more important than the Buddha. But all they are kind of like part of the Buddha, they are like caretaker of the Buddha's wisdom. They are not who bring us the wisdom. Dharma protector are the protecting the wisdom of the which is Buddha give us, and the spiritual master, guru, and all those lineage master are just messenger of the Buddha's wisdom. So actually, truly is a Buddha. So Buddha himself said, do not rely on the person, rely on the Dharma. One Buddha's time, there was a few monks traveling through the village, and they begging food. When they begging food, and some of those local people really criticizing to those monks and said, you are lazy, doesn't want to work. So that way you choose this path. You have nothing special that like we don't have. So you are a human being, we are a human being, and but only what different is you doesn't want to work, we have to work. So you're lazy. If you are worthy to receive the offering, then show us some miracle. And Buddha already said many times before, don't show the miracle, don't show miracle, it's not good, not benefit sentient beings. But then those men criticizing not just only you, even your teacher Kodama, he also lazy. That way he ran away from his home from his responsibility. Now he's just choose the easy life. Somebody else wealth enjoy, somebody else cook enjoy. So when those people criticizing Buddha, and those two monks couldn't stand, so then they show the miracle power. So when they come back, Buddha scold to those two monks, why did you show up miracle powers? So then those two monks said, this is okay, they criticizing on us, is we can handle, we can take for that. But when they start criticizing you, our teacher, our precious one, then we couldn't tolerate. And Buddha said, if they are criticized not bothering me, why you bothering? They criticize to me. So since even they criticize to me, it's nothing bother me. Why you bother? So main point is the Buddha said at that time, monks don't show those miracle powers, because once you show the miracle power, then people start following to the human being, not to the Dharma. Once people start to follow to the human being, not to the Dharma, from there to decline the Dharma halfway. Half of the Dharma will decline from there. So the reason Buddha clearly what called that what called that? It's a kind of like it's a kind of not allowed to do this, prohibited about showing the miracle powers. It's not like a Buddha cannot show the miracle power. It's no point of it, because then we not practice the Dharma, we seek those miracle powers. Lots of people seeking from the ritual, like do, definition and do some blessings. And by that one too, they feel like they can remove their obstacles. So I think, so this reason Buddha always said, follow to the Dharma. In our refugee prayer also said, Buddha is the supreme teacher, Dharma is the supreme protector. So who actually protecting us from the worldly suffering is the Dharma. Only Dharma can protect us. So nothing else can protect without the Dharma. So that reason we must, rely on the Dharma. So how we can rely on the Dharma is Dharma means the wisdom, knowledge. So then you have to know how to develop the wisdom. So there's 3 ways you can develop the wisdoms. It's called the hearing, contemplate, meditations. Hearing means that you have to learn from the passing from the gurus. Like earlier I mentioned, all the guru are messengers. So guru as bringing all the message from the Buddha. So we have to learn from the guru. That is called the hearing. Because without the hearing, we are not capable to practice the Dharma. Some people think, oh, I can do myself. I don't need anyone to guide me. I know what to do. Trust me, we know nothing. Actually, when it comes to the truly practicing Dharma, we know nothing. We only know maybe like a 0.1% when understand of the phenomena. Like other things forget about, even about the suffering. We only know 1/3 of the suffering. Suffering divided into 3. We only know one kind of suffering. So like that, many things we really don't know. Even you may think, oh, I already know. We don't know. Until we become complete enlightenment, we always need a guidance. Even we reach to the 10th bhumi, still we need the guidance. So that reason, always you can see instruction, they said, until reach to the complete Buddhahood, never be separated from the spiritual master. So that reason, first wisdom is called the hearing. It means that you have to receive that instruction from the guardian or spiritual master who can give you the instruction on the dharma. Then once you receive the instruction from someone, you don't have to trust immediately whatever he or she said. Doesn't matter who that person is. You know, Buddha himself said, don't just trust my word because I said so. You don't have to trust immediately. You have you have to use your own common sense. You know, is that makes sense for you or not? Because reason is, I think one reason is in the Buddhism teachings, not necessarily every teaching are suitable to the everyone. You know, some people, the certain teaching are more suitable. Like for example, some people meditating on the loving kindness is more suitable. Okay, but some people meditating on the falls of samsara is more suitable. So whatever suitable, whatever work for our emotionally freeing our negative emotion, you know, freeing from those all the emotionally stress or emotion, afflicted emotion. So whatever suitable to you, you have to only use that one. It doesn't mean that everyone have to use the same technique. Make sense? So that reason in the Buddhism is only the religion have so many variety. Why? Because there's so many different kind of beings, so many capacity, so many level of capacity beings. So that reason is they need a lot of different way too. So contemplate mean that you have to make sure one way is that teaching is suitable to or not, to you or not. Okay, one is that one. Two is and make sure you heard correctly, or even you can say make sure the teacher said correctly. You know, you have you can actually correct if teacher make mistake. Like when Adisha went to Indonesia, the Bodhicitta from the Silingba Dharmagidi. But Silingpa's view have some mistaking, slight mistaking. So Adisha correct his master's view. Make sense? So that way, when there is even he or she is your guru, if there's a mistaking from his or her view, you can correct them if you know. Lord Jiddu Sungun also said, you know, if Buddha's teaching scripture from the sutra or tantra and your guru's oral instruction is a contradictory, you have to choose the scripture, because scripture is taught by the Buddha, and Buddha's word will never have a mistake, but your guru can make mistake. Guru's instruction can come mistake. So that reason, not just only listen whatever he or she said to you, then follow with that. You have to use your own common sense. That is called the contemplate. That once you have a confident about understand on the then you have one pointedly put on the practice. That's called the meditations. So these three are how to develop the wisdoms: hearing, contemplate, and meditation. So through these two, then we can gain the true dharma, understand, or we can gain the true protection from the secular existence. Okay, now number 23. I think we finished the 2022, yeah?
Yes.
Okay, so number 23 said, heartfelt recollection of the Dharma is like one's hair cut on fire. Nothing is important as that. Therefore, don't be lazy or attached to pleasure. This is my heart advice. Uh, so heartfelt recollection of the Dharma. So is this heartfelt or from the not not pretending, not kind of like a verbally saying, so from the it's have to come from your bottom of heart, this recollecting the Dharma, or Dharma practices must come from your bottom of the heart. It's to say that how urgent to be Dharma practice is. How urgent Dharma practice is like if your hair is caught on the fire, and not just on the hair, if any part of your body caught on the fire, will you take break from the stopping the fire and have a cup of tea, or go to park, walk around, and maybe say, oh, I will what call this, pull out the fire later? You will not postpone on that. So you will do everything, you drop up. Even you're holding that cup of tea, you will drop up that one. And you first things what you do is to try to pull out the fire. So similarly, once we have this heartfelt Dharma in our heart, and nothing is more important than practicing that one. Why we cannot postpone, why we cannot wait for tomorrow? So because if we don't do now, whenever we get chance, and this kind of freedom, the chance to practice Dharma is not necessarily going to happen all time. Tomorrow there may something else come up, maybe your job interrupt you, maybe your health interrupt you, maybe your companion interrupt you, maybe some other issue comes that you couldn't practice Dharma tomorrow. Make sense? So there's no guarantee about tomorrow we will have chance to practice Dharma again. So that reason we have to urge this one, because this is the only chance, and that kind of chance not come regularly. So that reason you have to urge more than like pulling up the fire,
extinguish.
Yeah, try to extinguishing the fire, more important than extinguishing the fire on the head here. So that reason we have to most important is have to do is the right way. So what is the need to do be right way? Is whenever Dharma come in your heart, should do immediately, because sometimes even you're free, time free, and you have all those conditions that you can practice, but it not come to your heart. So coming Dharma to the heart have to have a great support of the merit. Without the great support of the merit, first of all, you never have interest on the Dharma. Second, even you get interested on the Dharma, you're not going to get the chance to practice the Dharma. So when you have interest in the Dharma, when you have a chance to the Dharma, then give up everything, then practice the Dharma, because that is the most important. That way it's a kind of like a really urging this one. So said that therefore don't be lazy or attached to the pleasure. So there's a three kind of laziness. Laziness of called the listlessness. So listlessness means the kind of like being attached to just kind of relaxing, hanging out, just basically being attached to the joy. So any kind of a worldly pleasure, whatever, is become in the Dharma, it become a lazy, part of the lazy. So see, now before we don't know that is lazy. We think that is not lazy, but in the Dharma, when according to the Dharma, that is also laziness. Then second one is called the laziness of disregard. Laziness or disregard mean the some I think basically like lots of people have this like I'm not good enough. I cannot do this one. Especially I think this is I also say this in the Tibetan tradition because we have lots of this reincarnation. Every highly practitioner, you always label with the reincarnation of such and such. Yeah. Even Milarepa himself said, I'm not reincarnation or anything. Still, some people still try to make him as a reincarnation of something, So that is, we have this habit. If there's you see someone really successful practitioner, then you have to have some kind of reincarnation label, have to put that one. That's not necessary, There can be great practitioner without a reincarnation. There can be great teacher without the being reincarnation. So that reason, sometimes we have this. So they said, "Oh, I'm just ordinary. I cannot do this kind of high practice or whatever." So this is not like that. Everyone, even Buddha Shakyamuni Buddha himself was like us. One point. So, but he put effort. He became a Buddha. We didn't put effort. That way we still maybe we are better than him. You never know. So that is called the second laziness, called the laziness of disregard, like I'm not good enough, encouragement. The third one is a gross laziness. Gross laziness is basically being attached to the doing negative action, non-virtuous, like a killing or all the non-virtuous action, putting lots of effort. That is called the laziness in the Dharma. So when we are what called overpowered by this kind of laziness, we are what called distance from the actually Dharma practice. So we have to be, avoiding all this kind of laziness. So that reason they said, don't be lazy or attached to the pleasure. This is my heart's advice. Because why is it don't be lazy? Attachment, the pleasure, because that lazy mean that you're not doing it right now, So if you don't do right now, as earlier I said, they are not have guarantee of a chance to practice Dharma next time. And also, if you being pleasure of the attachment to the pleasure, if that pleasure you can have forever, and that's okay, you can attach on that. If you will have that kind of pleasure forever, then it's okay. But our problem is we don't have that kind of pleasure always. Only we get sometime. So that sometime is not good enough. So what here saying is you can sacrifice the temporary pleasure for the achieving the permanent pleasure. You can sacrifice the temporary freedom for achieving the effortless freedom. So that reason, basically, we look in the pleasure, we look in the joy, we look in the peace, but we have to look the bigger goal. So that way, nirvana is the true pleasure. Worldly pleasure is a mixture with the suffering. So worldly pleasure is like eating poisonous food, so it's a taste delicious, but it will kill you. So that way we have to be avoiding this kind of laziness or being attached to the pleasure as a you call the obstacle to the continuing Dharma practice. That is my heart's advice. Then 24 said, renunciation and the mind that abandoning negativity are like a captain piloting ship. Freedom from samsaras depending upon them. Therefore, always be contemplating this without the distraction is my heart's advice. So what we need contemplate for achieving the freedom from the samsara first is called the renunciation. What does a renunciation mean? The seeing the faults of samsara. Without the seeing the faults of samsara, you're not going to get the renunciation. So that way, sometimes people don't want to talk or think about the suffering of samsara. People said, oh, I already know enough suffering. I don't want to hear or talk about the suffering as only making me uncomfortable. Actually, if we want to free from the suffering, we have to know what is the suffering. Not just only we have to know that what is the suffering, and we have to know faults of sufferings. And also we have to know the source of sufferings. So if we know the faults of suffering and the source of suffering, then we can get the renunciation, sense of renunciation. Because if we don't know faults of suffering, first of all, you're not going to have renunciation. Even you know the faults of suffering, but if you don't know the source of suffering, then you don't know from where to you can renounce, from what to you renounce. So the reason for the renunciation, you have to know the this faults of suffering and source of sufferings. Then it said, mind that abandoning negativity. Sometimes you can use this one as a disdaining mind. Mind is a disdaining from that that unpleasant circumstance like samsara. So we have to ponsing, mean that even it looks beautiful, even it sounds beautiful, even it tastes delicious, but if we know that will make you suffering, you will distance. Make sense? So that way you have to learn how to distance from that. So this is like abandoning negative. It means the distancing from that negative of samsara. So it's just like a captain piloting ships. So it's like samsara is called like ocean. It's this ocean. If you want to cross the ocean, you have to rely on ship or airplane. Yeah. So that, but a ship or airplane need the captain. Yeah, without a captain, it not go to cross. And also that captain is a need someone who, how to sail the ship or how to pilot. So that way, what is the really here is a pilot is a of the ship, of the pilot in the ship is a renunciation and disdaining mind from the worldly pleasure. So that is a depending upon them. So without the renunciation, no matter what we do, the Dharma practice, it become a worldly concern. So if we don't have a what called, can say sincere sense of renunciation. Yeah. Yeah. So if we don't have truly renunciation, whatever we do, Dharma practice is become a worldly concern. It means that we only focusing how to use Dharma as a worldly benefit. So like how to become rich, how to become powerful, how to become healthy, how to become wealthy, and that is the most important. Seems like I think these days that is the most popular practice. Like while the deity, dharma protector, and also wrathful deity, people really like those. So I really don't know. I mean, I cannot tell anyone's intention why they like that one. Make sense? Yeah, I cannot tell their intention, but seems like people, lots of Dharma practitioners are more interested on the worldly benefit more than liberation. So that is a happen because we don't have a deep sense of understand of the depth of the faults of samsara. So that reason we don't have a true renunciation. So that way, it's like if you don't have even you have a ship, if you don't have a captain, it's just stay round and round in the water. You never get where you want to go. So similarly, we practicing Dharma, but we're just circling there because we don't know how to sail the ship. So we need the pilot, someone who can go to the right path. So that is a start with the renunciation and abandoning, disdaining the mind from that worldly pleasure. So therefore, always be contemplate this, what mean the renunciation, meditating on the falls of samsara. So that is there's one Kadamba master. He never smiled. Whole life, and maybe most of once he had received the teaching, he never smiled. People called him long face, kind of like a angry face or long face or dark face, because he never smiled. And somebody said to him, why you don't have a kind of like smiling face sometimes, why you always be showing the grumpy or sad or this way. And he said, when I think about the faults of samsara, I have no way to can smile. There's no way I can smile. And then only one day I heard he smiled because some mouse came, tried to take away his some offering, and their mouse is too small, their offering is too big, and mouse couldn't take. So he bring to the other helper and tried to take those old. So that only that day he smiled. Other than that, he never smiled. Reason is because he was contemplating on the falls of samsara. Once we see the truly falls of samsara, and we can get the, when we contemplate the truly samsara, falls of samsara, then we will get the renunciation and, abandoning the mind with the negativity. Otherwise, we never be free our mind from the negativity. So that reason we have this false. We practice dharma. I mean, everyone who have interest in the dharma, we all practice dharma. But at the same time, we make lots of mistake. Why? Because our mind is not truly abandoning from the negativity. What make us not truly abandoned from the negativity? Because we don't have a sincere renunciation. So from the renunciation, not really depth of our heart. We have some degree of renunciation, but still, and in Tibetan we have one way to say it. There's like a local people's kind of song. It said, I'm not sure that Pure Land of the Sukhavati Pure Land of the Dewachin is that joyful, because all the lamas coming back. And another one said, I'm not sure that samsara is, the hell not durable, because all the political leader are really, what call them? Yeah, all they kind of like when people try to get on the, get into build, converge. Yeah, so pushing each other to try to get there. So they are so busy with the try to get there. So we have something like that. So I mean, I'm not saying it's all the reincarnation lama are they don't enjoy the pure, but what it means is we Dharma practitioner not sincerely practicing Dharma. Make sense? So that way, this is happen because of the lack of the contemplation of the renunciation of the false of samsara. So why is the lack of the contemplation? Because our mind is distracted with the pleasure of samsara. So that way I said, should be contemplated without the distraction. This is my heart's advice. Okay, then number 25. Obtaining the life of pleasure and endowment is like the arriving at the island of the jewels. Whether we are attained liberation or not is up to us. But show, therefore, not to leave empty-handed. This is my heart's advice. So generally, being born in the human is really difficult. Maybe a little bit easier to being born the human from the God realm. Maybe, but from the lower realm to coming back is really difficult. Because most of lower realm, why it's difficult is because most of lower realm, they don't have a capacity to do military activities. Like you can look the animals. Most of the virtuous action. Yeah. Like there's someone in Tibetan, we said, if you say to the, one animal, just say only one time on Mane Peme Ho, I give you gold like your head size. They couldn't say that one, even one time on Mane Peme Ho. So when come to the animal, it's really difficult to have practice the Dharma, then no caution about the hungry ghosts and hell realms. Because hungry ghosts and hell realm, maybe they have a little bit more sense of understand clear than animals, but their suffering is so great, tormented of the suffering. Even they want to practice Dharma, they cannot practice Dharma. So that reason, being born in the human is really difficult, especially from the lower realm. Being born back to the human realm is really difficult. So one is that. Two is also when you compare to the human number population and other realms, there's no way to can compare. We don't have access of the number of the hell being or hungry ghosts. We don't know because we couldn't see them. But if you look the animals, when you look the animals, humans population is really, really small. Yeah, so that is showing us how difficult to obtain the humans. That within the humans, someone who complete with the leisure and endowment is really difficult. We have completely freedom, because even we are human beings. We have a really negative condition. Like being born in the barbarian, have also wrong view and sometimes absence of the Buddha's teachings, and also have a mute from the sense faculty, mute, especially mentally mute, you know. So even we are a human being, some human are this kind of conditions. So what is the barbarian? Barbarian mean someone who believe non-virtuous action as a good things, you know. So and also some, they never believe in the karma. That's called the wrong view. Never believe good deed bring to the good result and bad deed bring to the bad result. Who never believed in the past life and next life. So that there are so many of them there these days. You can find hundreds, thousands of them there. You know, compared to the somebody who believe in the karma and the low causality, there's a really huge number of people never believe on those. So that is called the wrong view. So when we look this way, there's a really small number have actually leisure, freedom from the unfavorable conditions. Then even they have that leisure or freedom, still they are not complete with the endowment. Endowment is sometimes as a different translation. I heard in somebody said it doesn't have a correct, exactly, you know, English word for that, but it means that some kind of favorable condition. You have to come all the favorable condition come from the other five, from yourself five. So from others five, it's like a Buddha comes on the planet, on the earth. He's teaching, giving teachings, two, and teaching continually remain, three, and have a follower of that teaching. It means that like somebody who can guide us. If there's a Buddha's teaching is not follower and nobody can guide us, so follower. And have a sponsor, have a compassionate one who support financially. So these five are five favorable conditions. Five favorable conditions of the self, yourself, let's say being born in the human, being born in the where is the Dharma, you know, and have all the sense faculty that you can understand the Dharma, three, and have not done any heinous crime, four, and have a devotion or faith to the three jewel and karma. So, or Vinaya. So this kind of completing, you know, condition, favorable condition, having complete is really difficult. So once you have this all favorable condition, and then it's just like same as you are arrive in the island of the jewel. So in the ancient time, people go to in the boat, go to the island, and they collect all the jewels. At that time, you can do that one. So that example is come from there, right? Now, nowadays, even you go to the island, you arrive to the jewel, you're not allowed to touch them by the law. It's just, you know, it's illegal. But ancient time, lots of people go to the pilot. You know what's called the pilot? Yeah, like people go to in the boat to. I mean, Christopher, yeah, pirates. Christopher Columbus is one example. He come to the U.S. is to try to get to the gold, whatever, you know, jewel. So this is what it means that when you arrive the island, for example, the island is full of jewels. But those jewels not come into your pocket. You have to collect them. You have to pick up them. You know, if just go to the island, see all the jewel, and go back to your ship and return, you will be empty-handed. Same way, you have this precious jewel of the precious human body. If you not use that precious one, what you have, the precious one, if you not use, it's the same as a go to the island of the jewel and come back with an empty hand because you didn't use. So you have to use them. What you have a precious one. Without the using, cherishing this body is just wasting. Like you have a really delicious fruit, you know. If you said, oh, this is so delicious, this is so ready to find, and I'm not going to eat, I'm going to keep in the refrigerator, it will be rotten. Yeah, so nothing benefit anyone. Then one day it become really, really disgusting. So it's same as we will not using this precious human body and cherishing without the using is like making rotten of the fruit. One day our bodies become a rotten, so nobody want. You know, they are nothing precious. So that way we have to use much as we can this precious one. So that way it shouldn't be return to with the empty-handed. So if we have a human body and we don't use this human body as a dharma practice, and one day we died, it's like a same as a going to empty hand. Because when we're dying, what you can take is whatever you did, the dharma practice. I mean, the dharma practice means that whatever you did, the good deed, positive action. All those positive action you can take with you. If you have done anything and you live, then that day you will regret. Then there's nothing. So that way we have to use this precious human body without the wasting. Okay, then number 26 is said, knowingly doing wrong is like a madman taking his own life. One only destroying oneself is this way, be urged on by the whip of mindfulness. This is my heart's advice. So knowingly wrongdoing is also in the sometimes we use as alertness. We have alert. Alert means that we know what happened. Yeah, we know what happened. But even we know what happened or what's going to happen, if we neglect with that, and definitely there will problem comes. So when we have alert or when we know what is right, what is wrong, then shouldn't neglect that. So if we do knowingly wrongdo, this is like you destroying your own. So this means that like somebody have mentally challenged. When you have a mentally challenge, you don't know exactly you're harming yourself. Make sense? So same way, knowingly when we do negative things, sometimes we don't know ourselves that I'm harming myself. Lots of time we think, oh, I'm I want to destroy my enemies. But overall, we are destroying our own what called future. Yeah. So that reason is like madmen who without the knowing they harming themselves and harm. So that way. So what we need for this is be urged on the whip of mindfulness. So what is the mindfulness here is distinguishing what is right, what is wrong on the mindfulness, knowing about what should do, what shouldn't do. And not just only knowing and try to be mind control with the negative from the negative and try to be stay on the positive state. So that is what it means the knowingly what called if we have any kind of alertness, any kind of alertness make sure we are protected by the mindfulness. With the mindfulness and avoiding all those negative. That's what does mindfulness mean. Lots of people, they do the mindfulness meditation, but they never try to train their mind from the negative. So I think in this case, mindfulness is remembering what is wrong, what is right. Not just only remembering what is wrong, what is right, and have to be avoiding all the wrong and keeping the right one. Because that is only good for ourselves. If we continually, with the knowingly, do continually wrong one, and it will destroy ourselves. So that way, we have to keep the whip of mindfulness. Why we need the whip of the mindfulness is because we have a really bad habit. That cutting that bad habit need a stronger encouragement. So it's like whip, animal, when they need to run faster or work harder, we use them a whip, yeah? I mean, I don't know it's right or wrong. I'm sure it's wrong abusing animal like that, but people using whips they run faster. So same way, we need to whip up mindfulness, because sometimes even we knew we just being lazy, we don't want. So we need to kind of like push a little bit with the whip of mindfulness to make sure, stop all the negative and try to do the positive. Okay, so when we do the meditation, like shamatha meditation, they use as a mindfulness, yeah. And the shamatha meditation, mindfulness is basically talking about not forgetting where you should focus, yeah. But here, whip of mindfulness is not forgetting what you can accept and what should you abandon. So it's not exactly same, but it's kind of deep down it's the same. Your mind is controlling and from that negative habit. But it's a little bit, I think, little bit different. Is this time's mindfulness is in the Tibetan said Landor Ginne Mijipa. It means the point of what accepting, what should accept and what should reject. Not forgetting the point of what should accept, one should reject. So that point, remembering that point is called the mindfulness here. What is the acceptance? What is the rejection? What should reject? So here, all the negative must reject. Why? Because that negative only harm ourselves. Because no one will take, if you do the negative, doesn't matter to do for whom. You did for your family, you did for your children, you did for your community, you did for your center, you did for your monastery, you did your guru. If you did negative, that result of that negative is no one will take from you. No one substance for you. Yeah? Substitute for you. Only you have to experience that result. So that reason we need this whip of a mindfulness is always to be remember, if we did something bad, if you do something bad, doesn't matter for whom or from where, for what reason, always a result come negative. Even you did for your guru, even you did for the sake of the Dharma, if you did something bad, it will come result as a negative from that action. Maybe your intention have some good result too. I don't know that one. That is not really sure from your intention to have good result or not. But if you done something bad for whatever reasons, there will be definitely have a bad result, negative result from that. So that reason is just like we destroying ourselves whenever we do the negative things. Make sense? So that way, like madmen, they killing themselves or they hurting themselves without knowing that without knowing themselves that they're hurting. When we become crazy, we don't know we're hurting ourselves, but we hurt ourselves. Make sense? So similarly, worldly beings who are doing negative for whatever reasons we do negative, it's the same as a madman, they hurting themselves. We only hurt ourselves from that negative, because no one will substitute to take your result. When we do negative, so for whatever reasons, but that no one will replace to when it comes to the result. Make sense? No one will take over. So that way, we need a mindfulness of knowing what is right, what is wrong, what should take, what should abandon. So that is in here, mindfulness, whip of mindfulness is in this case is talking about that. Okay, now 27 said, the spiritual master is like the guide on the path. He protect on one from the lower realm and lead on to the liberations. Attain him respectfully with the body, speech, and mind. This is my heart's advice. So spiritual master, in the 37 practice of Bodhisattva, there's a two called the companion, evil companion and good companion. So who is the evil companion? Who is the good companion? You have to distinguishing by what kind of influencing happened from that person. If you have been really bad influencing from that person, that is an evil companion. Even that is a spiritual practitioner. Make sense? Anyone is bringing you the bad influences. So then that is an evil companion, and anyone is bringing to you good habit, bring to you the positive habit, that's called a spiritual master. In the Tibetan, we use as a gewe shenye. Gewa mean the virtues or positive. She and nye is like a relative and like a dear friend. So that is a spiritual master or a spiritual, I think sometimes they translate as a spiritual companion, spiritual friends. Many different translation comes, but this is someone who positive companion, someone who's influencing of the positive. So that one is like a guide showing the path, because without the guide, we cannot follow to the path. If we go to somewhere, they've never been that place, you need the guide. So we are not have been the nirvana, liberation, never been. That way we need a guide to take there. So who is the guide? Is the spiritual master who guide us step by step. To where to walk, when to rest, as all those details give us instruction from we took refuge to until we reach to the complete Buddhahood. Have to give all the guide, necessary guide. So especially human spiritual master, what is the master's job is from the beginning of the refuge vow to until you become can say independent for the practice. Can say yeah, like independent for the practice mean that you no longer need anyone's help. You become a
self-sufficient.
Yeah, sufficient, self-sufficient. until you become self-sufficient for the Dharma, you need the guide. That is a spiritual master's responsibility. So that kind of spiritual master is like a guide. So that way, spiritual masters have a responsibility, not enough to just give into refuge vow, not enough to just give in some empowerment, not enough to give in some teachings, have to take responsibility of make sure receive the complete guide until you become self-sufficient about the Dharma. That is a spiritual master's response. Once it, accept as a student, then that spiritual master's responsibility is make sure that, that the disciple is not fall down. So it's like a guide. Guide's job is make sure take to that from point A to point B. You cannot just give up middle of the halfway, yeah? So then you're not good guide. So good guide is make sure point A to point B get there with safe. So that way we need a spiritual guide. Why? Because our own we are not capable to follow the path. So once we have a spiritual guide, protect one from the lower realm. Why? Because the spiritual guide or spiritual master give us a teaching about what should accept, practice, what should avoid. Give the guiding about what is right, what is wrong, what is good, what is bad. So when we have that one, then we protect from the lower realm and lead one into the liberation. So have to go until liberation. This is some people think, oh, I don't need a teacher. I'm capable to myself. That is a little bit, I can say, overacted confident, yeah? Can say overconfident. We need a confident. Of course, we need a confident. But if we have overconfident, it's a become problem. So that reason you see that even those Buddha have a teacher. You see all the deity have they are called the Lord of the family. Like when you visualizing each deity have their own Lord of the family. So that Lord of the family is a symbol of a guru. It's the same as a guru. Like when you meditating on the generosity, you can see always Amitabha on the crown, because generosity generated bodhicitta from the Buddha Amitabha. It's a Genesis main teacher was Amitabha. So similar like that. Every deity have their own Lord of the family. That is showing us they are inseparable of their guru. So that way, spiritual master is needed until complete enlightenment. Even the 10th Bhumi Bodhisattva, they need a spiritual master. So until completely achieve the Buddhahood, we always need the spiritual master. So that way this one's lead to the liberation. Attend him. This is a problem. In the Tibetan, we don't have a gender. English have to make him or her. Yeah. So that way this is your problem in the English problem, not our problem. We don't have this gentle discrimination problem. So him or her, whoever, respectfully with the body, speech, mind. When you attending to the spiritual master, not just only physical body. Physical body means just go to the receive teachings, and also speech means that you have to show the respectful. If you receive the teaching and spiritual master and you call him, hey, you come here, and unrespectfully, disrespectfully, that's not good. So you have to attend your body, speech, mind, mean all the three doors. And then mentally, how to you attain as a spiritual master is with the devotion, with the faith. You know, body, speech, mind, all the three doors. It means that sincerely will attend, not just only just for receiving some information. You know, not just only for gaining some knowledge. Sometimes we have this selfish thought. Lots of times we have this selfish thought of, oh, just I want to learn this one. Once I learn, I don't care. You know, so that is actually not so good. When you learn from someone, you must appreciate that longest you using that one. Whoever give you that wisdom, you should appreciate. And on the Sutra, Buddha said, even you learn one stanza from someone, if you disrespectful that person, you will be reborn in the there's one Sutra said, you will be reborn in the dog life for 500 times. I don't know that one, maybe literally, I don't know, but that's you know, is have a really heavy negative karma from that, because you just only selfishly only I want to learn, but not keeping the you know, appreciation. Even forget about the spiritual path, even the mundane one. If somebody did you something, you shouldn't forget the rest of your life. Doesn't matter. These days, sometimes people are easy to forget. When they get in something, they become so sweet. Once they got that one, then they become a stranger. So that's a really bad, what called that, habit or attitude, really bad attitude. So this is showing us with the body, speech, mind, not just only physically, not just only lip service of the speech, you know, not just only also mentally thinking. You need all three show the, you know, respectfully, all the three doors. With this, my hard advice. And the holy Dharma that he teach is like the nectar of immortality that dispel all the fault and possess all the good quality without the exception. Make offering to him of the three way of pleasing. This is my heart's advice. So when you have a really pure, can say pure spiritual guidance, or I mean the spiritual, you know, called the, you know, good companion. If you have a good companion, and that companion only give you the good guidance, or the, you know, the teaching of the Dharma that is bring you to the all the good result. So it is like a nectar, as a immortality. Nectar, as in the Sanskrit, is called amrita. Amrita is something, in the Tibetan we call the duzi. Du mean the something's harm, yeah. Some things harm you, some things disturb you. It's a zi mean the kind of a vital essence. So that is some kind of vital essence that you know, purifying all the harms. So Dharma is a purifying all the harm of negative emotion, negative karma. So once we don't have that negative, then we are free from the death. So that is why I call the immortality. Immortality means the nirvana. Nirvana is called the deathless state. So that reason we have to follow to the spiritual master's guide, you know, heartfully, you know, from the sincerely, from the bottom of your heart. Then dispel the fault and possess the all good qualities. So if you rely on the qualified spiritual master. Their guide is only help you to dispel the false and the good, possess the good quality comes. Without the exception, mean that nothing remain there. So make offering him with a 3 way of pleasings. So there's a 3 way of pleasing as a offering of the material, offering of the service, and for supreme offering as a practicing what he or she taught you. Yeah, that is the best offering. So 3 way to offering: offering of the material, offering of the service, and offering which is the practice. So 3 way to you have to please the spiritual master. This is my hard advice. So it means that once you have this kind of a trustworthy spiritual master, and should follow sincerely his or her guide, whatever give you. Because if you follow that one, it only bring you to the good result. That's what is immortality mean, that from by following the trustworthy spiritual master as a guide, it will never bring you the negative result. Good result. So what is that? That is what mean the immortality. Okay, then the last one is there's not taking the teaching into the heart through the practice is like the sound of the echo. It's empty and without the meaning. Therefore, apply your mind to the Dharma. This is my heart's advice. So this one is even you have a really qualified, really one of the spiritual master, best one, if you not follow his teachings, no matter how much you receive, it's like same as an echo. Like no matter how loudly you make the noisy around the like a mountain, only make echo, like big room. When you make noisy, is echo comes, but the room not going to gain any benefit from that. You're noisy. No matter how much you talk, it's not going to change anything. That mountain never become enlightened. Room never become liberation. Same way, if we not, practice the Dharma, it's like a bounce back. When you receive teaching from the spiritual guru, if you not practice, it's a bounce back like echo. Echo is when you make noisy, it's a bounce back. It means that nothing stay with you. So no matter how many years you live with the spiritual master, nothing benefit gain through you if you're not practicing. Make sense? So you have to take his or her advice into your heart. Put on the practice. Then you get benefit. Like if you go to the market, and you see all those delicious food, beautiful clothes, and just look around them, window shop, and go home, you get nothing. Your stomach's empty. You have no new clothes. You get full of a window shop. Yeah. Same way, we all go to teachings here and there and receive so many. You count your number of lists to receive in teaching, your list is really long, but you never put any of those are practice. It's the same as a window shopping and not going to get anything. It's just empty. You come with an empty hand, you go back with an empty hand. So even you live with the spiritual master rest of your life, if you don't put on the practice his or her advice, then you just rest of your life stay on the empty. When you die with the empty handed. So as a spiritual master, no matter how much they scream to you, it only bounces back to that spiritual master, never stay with you. That means that it's become like echo. I think this is a both way, good advice, and also say to you harsh word. It only hurt you if you accept that one. If you don't accept that one, it's not going to hurt you. You know, it's not stay there. There's one story. Buddha, one day he was walking in the town, and one guy come to Buddha, says, scolding to him, you know, saying lots of bad things. And Buddha was listening. And then after he say all those bad things, and Buddha asked, are you done? Can I go? And that man said, are you not mad with me, what I said? And the Buddha said, no. Why? You know that I was in the other town, and that in that town, the one guy, he offered me sweet. Laddu is a kind of sweet one, you know, a sweet dessert. I didn't take. So that way his laddu is still with him. So in here, you offer me this all, you know, harsh word, but I didn't take. So that way it stay with you. So that way it's not hurt me. So I think this is like both way, bounce back. Like if somebody say really bad things to you, if you don't react on that, if you don't accept that one, it's like equal. Nothing is, you know, real. So that way, also, you know, not become hurtful. Hurtful, yeah. Okay, thank you so much. Danju sem joy Rinpoche. Manje panai je joji, je bai nyam bai mem bai ya, kone kondo pe wai joy, tadang konde tam je tu sondo sabana yube jewe zawan. Tadang senjen danje nyendo lana memba yanda ba zobe janjo Rinpoche toba joje ishe ja gonse gonje joje je tende ne la wando dego renje beje dembo se de ba she tu tu sang gomben zenjo je.